Let's start with the commissioning permit. Our latest application was denied again. The good news is that the overblown demands to provide addresses for linear infrastructure and other such wishes, because I can't call them anything else, are no longer being requested anymore. Instead, they're simply being ignored now. As they say, it didn't fly, and oh well, they tried to blackmail us, but even after 3 attempts, it still didn't work. We submitted documents showing that no addresses are to be provided for this type of linear infrastructure. The reference we had given earlier was ignored. I don't know whether they looked or not, you can't exactly ask, but the main thing is that when the responses on this matter from the relevant departments were presented, they kind of, they didn't seem to raise any objections. So, a whole range of issues was dropped as no longer relevant, and new ones appeared, new only in name, actually the old, forgotten ones. We are working on these now and preparing a new package for submission. Same actions as earlier. As for demands that exceed what is necessary or feasible, or that fall outside the scope of legal regulation, we are accordingly working to challenge the lawfulness of requesting this information. So, commercial orders are being fulfilled, we are adopting new technologies and bringing equipment online. We'd like to show the stator and rotor we produced, assembled using a stamping die, installed on a crank press. Unlike, say, Policy or Electromesh, and many other electric machine plants where they only stamp the laminations and then assemble them into a stack, here a complete stack is produced right on the press. For such a stack, depending on size, it takes from 16 to 26 seconds. After that, the stack is laser marked. Alexei is sitting here now, the operator. He also operates the laser engraving machine. Here it is laser engraved, developed and made at Sovelmash, plus the unique number of this stack. So if you look at other enterprises and compare their process of manufacturing it with ours, we achieve a significant saving in time. 26 seconds is, after all, not minutes. That is a major time saving. So we count not only the process time, but also transport time and all the rest, in order to calculate the cost. With this process, we gain a serious advantage over many companies. We come out ahead on this count. China assembles like this too, so what can we really compete with them on? Their metal is cheaper, the very same metal is sold there for less. They have incentives, discounts, and so on, so trying to compete with them directly is pointless. But they run at 50-60 Hz. We operate up to 600 Hz, so the motor is smaller. We have already discussed this. In the same way, simultaneously with the stator stack, we obtain the rotor stack. Then we cast the squirrel cage into it. Earlier, we poured into a permanent mold. That took tens of minutes. One could even say an hour or two for the whole procedure. Take the mold apart, put it back together, and prepare it. Right now, with a 4-cavity mold, a pour takes about 2 minutes, giving a cycle time of roughly 30 seconds per rotor. 30 here, 30 there, 1 minute, and it's ready. To press in the shaft and bearings here and do the finishing on all of this will take, another couple of minutes, roughly. So it works out to about 4 minutes up to 5 minutes of process time to assemble this in total. So it turns out that if we account for wages and equipment depreciation, this time is minor. Therefore, the dominant part of the cost here is materials. Therefore, over a relatively short period of time, we have achieved solid, noticeable progress in this area. Right now, active work is underway to prepare and organize the required testing process for these motors. For this purpose, we are developing shafts of a slightly different design configuration, because for the angle grinder, the design requirement at this point is a diameter of 9 mm, whereas to mount it on the test stand, we need a diameter of 10 mm. So we are now manufacturing shafts specifically in order to carry out all of these tests on the stand. And what I wanted to point out is that now, for example, inspecting the rotor is much easier already. Why? We weigh it, and if there is a 2-gram deviation, it is already a reject. Therefore, to avoid doing balancing, we now mark each rotor in the tooling and indicate where its low side is. That way we know the heavy side right away and can skip a separate balancing step. This is to determine the direction in which the characteristic imbalance occurs. Then we can refine the mold and stop doing balancing. The goal is to have it be as simple as acceptable or not acceptable. Yes, the setup required certain expenditures and materials because the rotors did not start coming out right away. We had to refine the tooling, adjust the operating modes, and tune the temperature profile. We had to put in a lot of work because aluminum A5 is difficult to cast and, if anything, even worse to machine. It tends to smear and drag, so a lathe tool cuts it poorly. A9, on the other hand, fills the mold well and machines cleanly and predictably as well. And now all those traverses that were cast in a single day. How many sets is that? 130? About 130 traverses were cast. Next we'll finish the bearing seats, and then we can assemble them. As for the angle grinder, one of the big remaining tasks on our list is the cold heading machine for producing the shaft blanks. This is the station that will form the blanks for the shafts. One of the dies turned out to be defective. We've brought in material, already completed the rough machining, and now we're going to carry out the finishing operation. And the main thing is that, in order to carry out the heat treatment, the hardening, we have launched an induction unit and are commissioning it now. We have tried several inductors. Now we will prepare inductors for the shafts. This inductor will have defined dimensions, length and width. It will be set up for batch processing, meaning that instead of placing a single shaft inside, we will load several at once in one go. An interesting challenge here is to obtain a uniform temperature exactly in the zones where quenching must occur, and to keep it uniform along the shafts. In practice, that mainly means the bearing seating surfaces. But on the other hand, we'll see. It may turn out that we drop this operation altogether and keep only the operation of hardening the tooling. Because for a number of orders and specific jobs, we produced our own stamping tooling, heat-treated it, and stamped the special parts, about 900 pieces in 2, I think, or maybe 3 days. That is a good result. As a performance indicator for such work, that is sufficient. So we're getting closer and closer to the moment when we'll start putting things like this out on the market, together with the angle grinder.